Now, a lot of freight forwarders are moving into provision of the door-to-door services. So instead of just moving cargoes, maybe moving cargo from the port of Lome to Ghana, then he would cover the whole chain of movement from wherever and bring it to you here. So if there's a factory even involved in the manufacture, he can go to the factory yard there and bring the cargo down at his cost, pay the ocean freight and everything, and then bring it to your doorstep. So the whole service that is provided entails all the costs along the transport chain. Okay, this is what has fueled the logistics business. People are now, everybody wants to go into logistics because then he will be able to provide those services. Even though it doesn't, setting up is not easy, especially if you are down here in our sub-regions. Then it's not easy setting up the business there. But if you have a business partner who could cooperate with you, then whilst he's taking care of the business elsewhere in other regions, you are down here and you do also your part in the arrangement of the goods and transportation. Okay. So the price calculation will be based on the entire multimodal transport track, door to door or point to point, and whether they are going by train, by rail, by road, whatever it is, he would cover everything. That is, the price calculation would cover everything. So they would definitely be higher than the ocean freight rate, because the ocean freight rate is only you looking at when the ship, the cargo is in the ship, because that is the ocean. But the rail transport, the road transport is not covered. But with the multimodal transport, he covers all the other modes of transport. That is why it is called multimodal. So all the other transports are combined. If the cargo moved by road to a certain point, and then it moved by a train to the ship's side, and then it moved by sea, and then when it gets to its destination, it moves again by road, by rail, by barges, everything is calculated. Now, the other costs and surcharges. There are other costs that are considered in this costing business in the shipping industry. We have things like the terminal handling costs. That is the cost when it is delivered at the terminal until it is hooked. If they are containers and they are shipped, then they will charge what we call the container handling charges or terminal handling charges. And they will vary, these costs vary per destination. As I said, if the cargo is coming to Africa, typically they are higher than when they are going to the Far East. The terminal handling cost looks at the handling that goes within the terminal, especially with containers. Even with general cargo ships, they may be stored, the cargoes might have come in, they are stored in the what do you call it? The sheds. Okay, the warehouses within the ship. So the forklift that has to go and lift it, bring it to the ship, or maybe put it in on a trailer for the trailer to be moved, everything. The container that is at the express station, they will go and pick it, the reach stackers and so on, or the straddle carriers will go and pick it and bring it to the ship for hooking and unhooking. All of those are costs that they have to build into the cost for the goods. Then they also charge for completion of the bill of lading and some other administrative activities such as postage, communication, and so on. So when you are shipping or somebody ships something to you, it's not just a matter of paying the ocean freight. They have to build all these other costs into the cost structure. You know, people are always having problems with the freight forwarders, isn't it? Because they think you are charging them too much. They need to understand that it's not just the ocean freight side, but all these other handlings have to go into it. So you should be able to explain it to them, okay, for them to understand. Then you have the equipment handover charges. This would come in when a trucker will pick or return a container, whether full or empty, and it is placed on a chassis. So if you import the container and then you send it to your warehouse, maybe in Nungwa Warehouse Limited or whatever they are called, you send it there. The equipment that moves the container there is also going to charge you. That is the equipment handover charges. Okay. And when they take it and bring it back, the truck that brought it, the handling that went into putting it, sometimes they have to hire a forklift to come and lift the cargoes and put them on. All of those form part of the cost. If the ship owner's agent organizes the inland truck, then the cost will be for the account of the vessel. Okay. When the forwarder arranges the transport, then he would pay those costs, and they refer to it as low cost. That is lift off, lift on costs. I've explained this already. In the EU, there's always a lot of conflict in these cost structure. And so in the EU, if you are making shipments there or bringing shipments down, they will always expect you to itemize all the costs, because sometimes they will lump it, all the costs, and then they are not willing to break it down for you to see how much you are paying for maybe the equipment or terminal handling and administrative costs. And so you cannot lump them up and say miscellaneous. No, you have to make sure you itemize them. Okay. So those are the costs. Then we also have what we call surcharges. The cost would always form part of the freight, but the surcharges would only be applicable as and when the situation calls for it. Okay. So with the cost, they are part of the build-up. They are part of the build-up, the handover, equipment handover, the terminal handling, the completion of bills of lading, and so on, the door-to-door, the freight, the distance that are moved, and the ports involved. They are all part of the freight cost. But the surcharges, on the other hand, would only apply as and when the situation arises. For example, the currency surcharge or currency, sometimes they call it currency adjustment factor. If in the calculation of the freight rate, your books, you used maybe the dollar rate of 1:1. Now the dollar has gone up. It's now 1.5 to 1. You cannot still charge the same freight for that. They would want you to top up the difference. Otherwise, they cannot buy fuel for the ship. They cannot pay the crew and so on. So then they will put a surcharge, and that surcharge is known as the currency surcharge or currency adjustment factor, to take account of the fluctuation in the exchange rates, local exchange rates as against your charge. And that is why importers here in Ghana, you find out that importers are always crying when the dollar is not stable and it keeps rising. Because when they bring their goods, and the shipping lines will slap this cost on them. So goods that you were expecting that when it comes, you are going to price it at this price. It comes and the price cannot be at that price because you have to pay this currency adjustment factor. Okay. Then you also have the bunker adjustment factor. You remember some time back in 2000, especially 2008, where the fuel price was $165 per barrel. Okay, so the fuel price has changed drastically, and even now it's still the same. As for fuel, it's always doing that, going up, down. As you can see now, look at the way petrol is rising because of the Russian and Ukraine conflict, because they are major exporters of crude and finished products. So you have to pay. So you have to pay more. So So the ship owner now, if he's going to buy fuel, he also has to pay more, isn't it? And that is why the Trotros were saying they were going to increase their fares. They have, yes, because you go to the fuel, the pump station, fuel that you used to buy at maybe 6 cedis per liter is now almost 10 cedis. Huh? It's what? Yeah. So if it is, you don't expect the person to charge you the same freight rate. So he would what? Increase the freight. Okay. So this surcharge is applied when the fuel costs are increased so much that this influences the revenues of the ship owner, and the bunker adjustment factor or the bunker surcharge balances or compensates for that. Then we have the congestion surcharge. There are some ports when you get to, because of the way business is carried on in those ports, you can stay forever. It takes so long. And you know, a ship only makes money when she's on the move. Okay, if she's stopped, she's spending money.